Cross-County Parkway near the Broad Street exit in Mount Vernon, New York. This wasn't no random drive-by or robbery gone wrong. The Westchester County Police classified this as a targeted homicide based on preliminary evidence, ruling out any random motive. When the authorities say something is targeted, that means someone specifically wanted this woman dead, and they planned out how to make it happen. Now, let me paint you a picture of who Ariela really was. Because understanding her life helps us understand why her death became such a big story. This sister wasn't just some random person caught up in street drama. She had over 556,000 Instagram followers. Ariela Langosta at Langosta, where she shared fashion tips, beauty routines, lifestyle vlogs, comedic skits, and glimpses into New York City's nightlife scene. She was grinding, building her brand, and making moves in one of the most competitive social media landscapes in the world. But Ariela was more than just an influencer. She was out here working real jobs in the trenches of New York's nightlife industry. She worked as a bartender, hostess, and dancer at some of the most exclusive spots in Manhattan, venues like Icon New York, Opus Lounge in Inwood, and Starlets of New York. Her colleagues remembered her as someone who brought real energy to every room she walked into. I'm very heartbroken just coming now is very knowing that she had her 2 daughters. Very sad. It really hurts, Dominican, very beautiful. Such a thing like this, very, very sad. The details of her murder are absolutely chilling when you really break them down. Police believe she was ambushed while driving home from work at Icon New York Lounge around 8:00 a.m. on August 17th, likely shot while the vehicle was in motion, causing it to stop on the Parkway shoulder. Picture this. You're driving home after a long night at work, probably thinking about getting some rest, and suddenly someone opens fire on your car. That's the reality of what happened to this young mother. The Westchester County Medical Examiner's Office ruled her death a homicide by multiple gunshot wounds. Multiple gunshots means this wasn't some quick, impulsive act. Someone wanted to make sure she was dead, and they put in the work to make it happen. The SUV showed signs of a violent attack, including shattered windows and bullet holes, consistent with a targeted shooting from outside the vehicle. Now, here's where the story gets complicated and where all the internet drama started. Ariela had a very public friendship with one of the most controversial figures in hip-hop, Tekashi 6ix9ine, also known as Daniel Hernandez. She appeared as a dancer in his 2023 music video for WAPE and was often seen with him at events like performances at New York's Toboga Room. For those who might not know the full story behind 6ix9ine's reputation in the streets, let me break it down real quick. In 2019, he was convicted on racketeering and firearms charges related to his involvement with the 9 trade gangster Bloods gang, but he cooperated with authorities, testifying against his former associates in exchange for a reduced sentence. In street terms, that makes him a snitch. And in the world of gang politics, being labeled a snitch can put a target on your back and anyone associated with you. After Ariela's murder, 6ix9ine posted emotional tributes on Instagram, calling her the Queen of New York, a tremendous woman, and like a sister who supported me in everything. He shared photos, videos, and even their favorite song, Aventuras, Obsession, while expressing genuine grief about her death. You could tell this hit him hard. Regardless of what you think about his past actions, the connection between Ariela and 6ix9ine immediately set off alarm bells across social media. Online speculation has linked her death to 6ix9ine's past with the 9 Trey gangster Bloods gang and his cooperation with authorities, with many theorizing that she became collateral damage in potential gang retaliation. The internet was absolutely going crazy with theories about who might have ordered the hit and why. But here's the crucial detail that gets lost in all the social media chatter. As of August 26, 2025, no suspects have been publicly named, and the motive remains unclear. Though authorities are reviewing her history, relationships, and activities leading up to the incident, the police haven't connected this murder to 6ix9ine. directly to any specific gang retaliation or to any particular individual. They're still building their case and gathering evidence. The investigation has revealed some important details about Ariela's final hours that paint a picture of someone who had no idea her life was about to end. Her final Instagram story showed her smiling with friends at Icon, New York the night before her murder. She was living her life, working her job, probably making plans for the weekend, completely unaware that someone was planning to take everything away from her. What makes this case even more heartbreaking is understanding who Ariela really was beyond the social media persona and the nightlife connections. She was a devoted mother to her two teenage children, ages 13 and 14, whom she prioritized above her public life. Think about that for a second. Two kids are now growing up without their mother because of whatever beef or conflict led to her murder. Her colleagues at venues like Icon, New York, described her as a shining star with infectious energy and a joyful soul who brought positivity to everyone around her. These weren't just empty words from people trying to sound good for the cameras. People genuinely loved this woman, and her death left a real hole in her community. The investigation itself has been extensive, involving multiple law enforcement agencies. Westchester County Police are working with the NYPD and FBI Safe Streets Task Force in a multi-jurisdictional probe. When you see the FBI getting involved, you know this case has serious implications beyond just a local homicide. Police Chief James Luciano has stated that progress is being made with detectives reviewing Maya Polano's history, relationships, social media activity, and movements. They're looking at everything. Who she talked to, where she went, what she posted online, who might have had a problem with her or the people she associated with. The timing and location of the murder also tell us something important. She was likely ambushed while driving home from work, suggesting that someone either knew her routine or had been watching her movements. This wasn't some random encounter. Someone planned this out and waited for the right moment to strike. All of this context sets the stage for understanding how wild allegations about other rappers got mixed up in this tragic story. When you have an unsolved murder involving someone connected to a controversial figure like 6ix9ine, the internet goes into overdrive. People start connecting dots that don't exist, creating theories based on existing beefs and drama, the real beef between 6ix9ine and Lil Chay. Now, we need to dive deep into the actual beef between Tekashi, 6ix9ine, and Lil Chay, because understanding this conflict is crucial to seeing how these murder allegations got traction in the first place. This isn't just some made-up industry drama for publicity. There's real bad blood between these two artists that goes back years and involves some of the most serious issues in hip-hop culture. The foundation of this beef goes way deeper than just musical competition or social media trolling. The feud between Tekashi 6ix9ine and Lil Chay began around 2021 when Lil Chay criticized 6ix9ine's federal cooperation, calling it a betrayal that shifted his own perspective on the industry. So all on 6ix9ine suck my look, bro. One thing I gotta remember too about this whole 6ix9ine, right? Like, bro, when you explaining something from one perspective, bro, you going to win at least to civilians, cause I ain't really, I don't know. What the talking about this wasn't just casual shade. Lil was making a principled stand about what he saw as a violation of street code and hip-hop values. You can't do all that and then try to justify stitching. Bro, no. Think that he did the right thing. Get thee out of this culture like stay in your lane. But the beef got more personal when Lil Chay revealed something that really showed 6ix9ine's character. Lil Chay claimed that 6ix9ine's team offered him money to fake a beef for publicity, which he declined, stating, "They tried to pay me to troll with them. I ain't with that." Think about that for a minute. 6ix9ine's people allegedly approached Lil Tjay with cash to manufacture fake drama for clout. That's some industry manipulation type stuff that goes against everything real hip-hop is supposed to represent. The context behind 6ix9ine's reputation is crucial to understanding why this beef cuts so deep. When 6ix9ine got locked up in 2018, he was facing serious time. We're talking about potential life in prison on racketeering charges. He was arrested in November 2018 on RICO charges tied to the 9 Tray gangster Bloods, facing life in prison for crimes including shootings and robberies. Butte cooperated with prosecutors, testifying against gang members, and was sentenced to 2 years in the streets. Cooperating with law enforcement is considered one of the worst things you can do. It doesn't matter what you were facing. You're supposed to take your charge and keep your mouth shut. When 6ix9ine decided to testify against his former associates, he essentially burned bridges with a huge portion of the hip-hop community. This cooperation earned him the snitch label in the rap community, making him a pariah among many rappers and potentially putting shooting was an attempted robbery with 3 suspects arrested. Muhammad Kate, Jeffrey Valdez, and Edward Samgo charged with attempted murder. But no links to 6ix9ine were found. However, immediately after the shooting, online rumors suggested 6ix9ine might have been involved, fueled by their public beef, and 6ix9ine's history of conflicts with other rappers. These rumors were never substantiated with any evidence, but they added another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. The way Lil Chay handled the situation after recovering showed real maturity and growth. Instead of immediately firing, back with more disses or escalating the violence, he channeled his experience into his music. Honestly, I kind of like, as referring to like that situation, I really don't know what happened. It's like a blur. Like I just woke up and could remember just waking up and everything after that. So, and I don't really know. Like I just know that in this world it's like I feel like everything happens for a reason. That's someone who went through a traumatic experience and came out with a philosophical perspective about life and survival. He didn't let the shooting turn him into a revenge-seeking person, which shows real character development. The beef continued sporadically over the years, with both artists taking shots at each other through social media and interviews. In 2023, when 6ix9ine himself got assaulted in a Florida gym, Lil Chay mocked the incident on Instagram with karmas showing that the animosity was still there, but expressing itself through social media rather than any real-world violence. Sleeping like, why is this kid doing better than me? I wouldn't be able to sleep. I don't blame you. I would be mad too. I would be mad if ratted and I spend my whole life trying to be a real. I'd be mad too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, like, I'm genuinely sorry. And for all, and another thing I want to address for the King of New York. Let's cut that out. Little boy, sit down. If you don't got this watch, I'm not beefing with anybody from New York. If you don't got this watch right here, you a little boy to me. Even in 2025, 6ix9ine was still taking shots at Lil Chay, showing that this beef has deep roots and isn't going away anytime soon. The King of New York controversy adds another dimension to their rivalry, with both artists having claims to representing their city in different ways. What makes this beef particularly significant is how it represents larger themes in hip-hop culture. On one side, you have Lil Chay representing traditional street values, loyalty, authenticity, and the code of silence when it comes to law enforcement. On the other side, you have 6ix9ine representing a more modern internet-driven approach to hip-hop, where trolling and controversy are just as valuable as musical talent. The feud reflects broader tensions in the hip-hop community about authenticity, cooperation with law enforcement, and the consequences of breaking street codes. It's not just personal animosity. It's a clash between different philosophies about what hip-hop should represent and how artists should conduct themselves. The impact of this beef goes beyond just the two artists involved. It influences how other rappers position themselves, how fans choose sides, and how the broader hip-hop community thinks about issues like cooperation with police and authenticity in rap music. When someone with 6ix9ine's profile openly cooperates with law enforcement, it forces everyone in the culture to think about where they stand on those issues. Understanding this deep-seated beef is crucial to seeing how the murder allegations against Lil Chay got traction. When someone connected to 6ix9ine gets murdered, and there's already bad blood between 6ix9ine and another rapper, the internet rumor mill immediately starts connecting dots. Now, we need to talk about the broader context that makes Ariela's murder so tragically typical. The way gang violence destroys the lives of innocent people who just happen to be connected to the wrong person at the wrong time. How gang violence destroys innocent lives. Gang violence doesn't just affect gang members. In fact, one of the most devastating aspects of this type of violence is how it spreads beyond the people directly involved in criminal activity to harm their families, friends, romantic partners, and even random bystanders. Studies show that gang-related homicides disproportionately affect non-gang members, with estimates indicating that 40 to 60% of such killings involve innocents driven by cycles of retaliation that escalate beyond direct rivals. Let me break down how this works in the real world. When someone gets labeled as a snitch or becomes a target for gang retaliation, the people around them automatically become potential targets, too. Research from the CDC indicates that in U.S. cities like Los Angeles and Chicago, 20 to 30% of gang homicides involve non-members, often due to guilt by association. This isn't just statistics. These are real people getting killed because of who they know or who they're related to. The mechanisms by which innocent people get caught up in gang violence are well documented and devastating. Gangs often target associates to send messages or weaken rivals indirectly, with violence cascading through social networks to kill friends or family members who have no involvement in criminal activity. It's a strategic approach to violence that recognizes you can hurt someone just as much by harming the people they care about as by harming them directly. In Ariela's case, her friendship with 6ix9ine potentially put her in danger through no fault of her own. Online speculation has linked her death to 6ix9ine's past, with the 9 Tjay gangster bloods and his cooperation with authorities, with theories suggesting she became collateral damage in potential gang retaliation. While these theories haven't been confirmed by law enforcement, they fit a pattern seen in gang violence across the country. Think about what this means in practical terms. Ariela was a working mother trying to build a life for herself and her children. She worked legitimate jobs as a bartender, hostess, and dancer at venues like Icon New York, Opus Lounge, and Starlets of New York. She was grinding, paying bills, raising her kids, and trying to make something positive out of her life. But because she had a friendship with someone who had made enemies, she potentially became a target. This pattern of innocent people getting killed because of their associations is tragically common in urban areas affected by gang violence. In cities with high gang activity, drive-by shootings or ambushes frequently hit unintended targets with organized crime connections, leading to bystander deaths and turf wars. Sometimes the wrong person gets killed by mistake, and sometimes innocent. People get killed intentionally to send a message to the real target. The psychological impact on communities affected by this type of violence is enormous. When people know that having the wrong friends or dating the wrong person could get them killed, it creates an atmosphere of constant fear and paranoia. Studies on community trauma show how violence normalizes retaliation against perceived associates, creating cycles where more innocent people get pulled into conflicts they never chose to be part of. Let's look at some specific examples of how this plays out. In Vancouver, Indo-Canadian gangs have had overrepresented homicide victims among affiliates, with 24% of gang killings involving non-members from 2003 to 2013. These aren't people who chose gang life. They're girlfriends, wives, children, and friends who got caught up in someone else's beef. The international scope of this problem shows how universal these patterns are. In El Salvador, Mississippi, 13 and 18 street gang wars resulted in the world's highest homicide rate in 2015, with many civilians killed as proxies in conflicts they had nothing to do with. When gang violence reaches that level of intensity, innocent people become strategic targets rather than accidental victims. What makes this particularly relevant to hip-hop culture is how the music industry intersects with street culture in ways that can put artists and their associates at risk. When rappers have real connections to gang activity, whether from their past or their current associations, those connections don't just disappear when they become successful. The research shows that romantic partners or friends of gang members become targets and retaliation cycles, with women being killed as proxies in conflicts between men. In Ariela's specific situation, there were multiple factors that could have made her a target beyond just her friendship with 6ix9ine. She frequently posted about luxury items, stacks of cash, jewelry, and her Mercedes SUV on social media, which may have attracted attention from criminals. Some reports also mention a boyfriend, Nata Cartier, described as a suspected gang leader, potentially linking her to additional street conflicts. The nightlife industry itself can be dangerous, especially for women who work in high-end clubs where they interact with wealthy clients who might have connections to illegal activities. As a prominent figure in New York City's hip-hop and club scene, working at venues like Icon and Starlets, she may have been exposed to dangerous elements, including rivalries or disputes. The targeting of women in gang violence serves multiple purposes that make it particularly cruel and strategic. Killing someone's girlfriend, wife, or female friend sends a message while also causing maximum psychological damage to the intended target. It's a form of warfare that recognizes how much pain you can cause someone by harming the people they care about rather than confronting them directly. What's especially tragic about cases like Ariela's is how they highlight the